If you've ever been frustrated by using Sketch in Xactimate, or you're new to Xactimate and you're not quite sure how to use Sketch, then this is the video for you. I've put together a list of shortcuts to help you not only save time, but also just understand how Sketch works. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to use shortcuts, what they are, and then there's a list of shortcuts that you can download at the end. You'll find that below this video in the description. My name is Alina Wilson with Estimate Mastery, and let's take a look today at the Sketch shortcuts in Xactimate. So here I am. I've already opened up an estimate and I'm in the Sketch window here in Xactimate. They have this new inspection results window that kind of pops up from time to time. So I just wanted to show you that if this is popping up for you, you can just collapse it with this little arrow. We're not going to be using that. That's not something that we're going to talk about today, but it seems to be popping up every now and then. So just wanted to address that in case you're seeing that on your screen. The reason I show that as well is it takes up too much real estate. Whenever you're sketching, you want as much of the screen available as possible. So that's why we collapse that as well. So first thing we're going to look at is our Sketch shortcut list. So this list is located down below. The access to this PDF is in a link that you'll find in the description down below this video. And as soon as you fill out the form and download the PDF, here's what you'll find. So we're going to start with the keyboard shortcuts for the room, and then I'll get to the keyboard shortcuts for the roof. Super easy to use this PDF, in my opinion. Just pulled out the shortcuts that I think are most useful to you, especially if you're new. Even if you've been using Xactimate for 5 years, you'll still find this shortcut list pretty useful. I did want to point out on this PDF that the very last page is a printable page so that you can save the ink on your printer. All you need to do is just print this out in black and white and have it, next to your computer or carry with you out in the field if you're going to be sketching there on a laptop or something like that. So this is the list. I'm not going to go over every single one. A lot of these are self-explanatory, but I do want to cover the high points here. So let's start with a room. So basically the way that Xactimate was taught to me was that you build a space in Sketch and fill that space over in Estimate items. So we've got to build a space here. Now, there's a caveat to that. If you are a roofing exterior contractor, you probably won't use much Sketch unless you're importing an Eagle view and making a change to the dimensions. Maybe there's an addition that happened on the home or something like that that wasn't picked up on the Eagle view. But if you're an interior contractor, you will use Sketch quite a bit. Now, if you're a roofing exterior contractor and perhaps you do a little bit of drywall work for patching of a ceiling, you still would want to sketch that room. It makes you look really professional, and then also would give you more accurate measurements in your estimate items if you sketch those rooms. So let's start off with a room. Now here in Sketch, it's really easy to hover over the tool that you want to use, and it will give you the shortcut. So room with the parentheses around the R, that's the shortcut. It's R for room. I've made you this list of the high points of the ones that are most commonly used so that you don't have to hover and think about it. You've just got the list there on the PDF. But for today, I did want to show you that if you want to learn some other, of the shortcuts later on, they are available by just hovering over the different areas of the window here. So we're going to go ahead and type R on our keyboard. I'm not going to click here. The more you can use your keyboard in Sketch, the faster you're going to be. I also recommend getting an external mouse. Do not try to sketch on a laptop trackpad. Getting a $5 external mouse will go so far in helping you learn Sketch and making it less frustrating to use Sketch, even if you are on a laptop. So type R for room on my keyboard. That's going to load the room to my cursor, and I can left click once to place that room. Then I can type D for doorway, and that will load the doorway to my cursor. And you can either click once to set the door, or you can left click, hold, and drag along the line here, along the wall, to set a larger door. So a couple of different things that you're going to see happening on my screen. First of all, this room is too small, meaning I can't really see it. If you're working small like this, you're going to get into a lot of trouble in Sketch. So what you want to do is learn to use your zoom tools. If you have an external mouse with a wheel in between the two buttons, you can roll forward on that wheel to zoom in and roll backward to zoom out. If you do not have that, here are your zoom tools over here in the bottom right. So zoom in would be the plus sign. So I can hover over this and use the plus sign, and that will zoom in. You can also use what's called zoom to extents. So that is shift and the minus. So shift minus will bring that room right up full focus so we can see all of the dimensions, and it's a lot easier to work with. So as you saw, I added a 2'6" by 6'8" door by clicking once with that door tool. Or you can left click, hold, and drag, and that created an overhead door situation. So if you want to take a look at what these doors are looking like and just basically what your room is looking like, then you want to get used to using your view tools here. So you've got your 3D view. So if I tap 3 on my keyboard, I can see a 3D view, and you can see that my 2'6" wide door is just a standard door, but when I left click, held, and dragged, it actually created an overhead door for me. So there are some dynamic things that you can do when you learn how to use the different tools in Sketch. Now I'm going to tap 1 on my keyboard. That's going to bring us back to plan view, or as if it's a sheet of paper. So you've got your 3D view with the number 3 on your keyboard, and then 1 for plan view. You're probably asking, what does the number 2 do? Well, don't worry, it's just your elevation view. It's just a 2D version of the exterior walls. So you can tap 2 on your keyboard, and then this little arrow will pop up. You can click once, and then you can view the exterior. So if this is overwhelming, don't worry. I usually just use the 3D view and the number 1 on my keyboard, and I toggle back and forth between those two things here in Sketch in order to see my views. Next shortcut we want to talk about is the W for window. Same thing, I can left click once to place a window in the wall, or I can tap W on my keyboard and left click, hold, and drag a big large window if I want to. Now if you're wondering how wide or tall these windows are, or the doors, you can click on those doors and go to the properties, and it will show you the width, the height, and all the fun information. There's a lot here in your properties. If you're going to get really good at Sketch, you're going to be in your properties a lot, but try to keep this video a little bit more basic. So just pay attention to width and height if you're just starting out using Sketch, and that's what you can do here. The next shortcut is one of my favorite. It's the undo tool. So I make a lot of mistakes when I'm sketching, so I like to be able to quickly undo those. So Control Z is the undo tool, and I can undo those doors or windows that I had made here in Sketch. So undo, and sometimes some of these tools get stuck to your cursor. Notice how it's acting funny. Got some weird stuff going on. Somehow it's picking up the elevation tool, so I'm not really sure why it's doing that, but I can use the keyboard shortcut Escape to reset my cursor, and that takes away those red arrows. Also, you'll see that the undo tool, you can only undo up to 5 times, so be careful with your undo tool. Now I'm really glad this happened. It is an error that's going on. You can see these weird things happening on my my screen here. I'm not sure what it did with my doors and windows, but it's acting really funky. If it starts to do anything like this, you'll see these X's on the doors and windows. This is a new error that I'm seeing. Doesn't matter. When this happens to you in Sketch, and I'm glad it happened to me when I was doing a recording, you'll just want to delete off. So you can either right click and delete the room, or you can tap on the room or click on the room and then tap delete on your keyboard, and that will get rid of the room. It's easier to reset and just completely delete in Sketch than it is to spend the time to undo whatever error it has. Just trust me on this. I've been using this program for over 12 years. It is so frustrating in Sketch when you're trying to undo something wackadoodle that the computer's just doing to you in the background here. So I'd just rather clear the slate, delete the room that I'm having problems with. You don't need to delete a whole floor plan usually. It's just 1 or 2 rooms that are giving you some trouble, and I can try again. So R for room, get that placed. D for door, I can set my door. W for window, we'll set that window. Okay, so that's how quick and easy it should be to use Sketch. Hopefully it won't throw any errors up for you. Again, just so easy to just click on the room and delete it if it's giving me any problems. And then of course this undo tool, the Control Z, is going to be your best friend as you start to learn Sketch. Even if you've been using it 12 years like me, undo is the best thing going when you're sketching. So let's just go ahead and add a roof next door to this. Usually I'd add another level and do all these fancy things, but for this video I'm going to get really basic with you. If I tap my space bar, you'll see this Michael Jackson glove or hamburger helper glove come on the screen, and that's how I can left click, hold, and drag my mouse to move over the room to the left. It's a lot easier than zooming out or trying to do something like that, because I like to keep the sketch really zoomed in on my workspace so that I can, edit walls, windows, all the fun things. So we're going to go ahead and drop a roof in here. And the shortcut for roof, of course, is not R because that would load another room. So I'm going to hit escape. That will take the room off of my cursor, and I'm going to tap F for roof. F is the shortcut. The way I remember this is don't fall off the roof. So F is your shortcut there. And I'm just going to left click once to place that and make that roof active. And then you can do all kinds of resizing, whatever you need to do to the roof. There's lots of things that you can affect, especially in the properties. If you double click on the roof, it'll bring up those properties, and you can affect the slope, the eave depth, all kinds of things are happening in the properties of a roof, usually a lot more than what's happening in a room, but definitely want to get your feet wet, look at those properties and make sure that you've got, the right pitch here. So maybe it's a 612 gable style roof, when we could take a look at that in 3D. And you can see here the roof should be on top of the room, but for sake of time today I've had to just place it next door. So that is the basics of how to use shortcuts in Sketch. Go ahead and check out that PDF that I've created for you so that you can play around with those different shortcuts. Please note that R for room, it's not an R plus the minus sign here. Okay, so I did want to have like a little bit of a delineator of just not have a bunch of spaces here for you. So just know it's R for room, D for doorway, that this little minus sign doesn't mean anything for the shortcut itself. So R for room, D for door. You can see F for the roof. Spacebar helps you do some fun things when you have the roof in a ghost image. So read through this PDF that we've created. Again, located in the description down below, you will find that PDF. And then if you like these kinds of videos going over Sketch, please be sure to like the video and subscribe, because I release videos like this every Tuesday, and I love to share these kinds of resources that we create with these PDFs and other things. So be sure to subscribe so you get those notifications. My name is Alina Wilson with the Estimate Mastery. Thanks for watching. Have a great week in your business, and I'll see you next week.